Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. It is Lupinranger versus Patranger review time. This week's episode 22. That was a weird way of saying all that, but anyway. This week's episode was alright. It was, just a pretty average episode. It's kind of the first, it was the debut of the, Robo Mecha form for Lupin Patren-x's stuff. So in that case, it was kind of significant. But other than that, it was pretty much kind of your standard post Sixth Ranger's debut episode where we kind of get a taste of what he's going to be like in the group. And there were some fun moments, but it was just overall average for me. The core premise basically started with Noelle kind of trying to matchmake Sakuya and Umiko, and by doing like a phone thing, which led to her being turned into like a Swedish fish or something in the Monster of the Week's thing, and it kind of just led to Sakuya's like insecurities, basically about, girls in general, and his, I don't say manliness, but I don't know, just him trying to find love or just be liked or whatever, just kind of insecurities. And he's like, oh man, I can't even save her myself, I needed help. And so that's kind of was the core premise. It was very okay, there wasn't really anything too huge about it. It really didn't tell me anything about him I didn't feel like I already knew. And then it kind of ended on a joke in a way, because there was a scene between him and Noelle where he's like, they always just tell me, oh, you're such a nice guy, and that's what she told him at the end. It was kind of played for a joke, so it was kind of one of those filler episodes. At least it was kind of character focused, but it didn't tell me, like I said, it didn't tell me anything new. I didn't feel like I had a new connection or a new appreciation for him. He's just, the same. It was kind of funny to see Noelle walk into the cafe with the other fellow Patrangers like it's nothing. I think they even said it. He just walks in there like it's nothing or something like that. I thought that was kind of funny. And them trying to sort of feel out the situation with that. And then, there wasn't really too much on the front of the mystery of who his allegiances are with. The very beginning scene was like a continuation of his scene with Kogura. That was or Kyogre, sorry, I like to call him Kyogre, where it was honestly nothing too huge. In terms of the dialogue back and forth, it was very much what we expected, or what I expected rather, and kind of vague about referring to the past. And he's like, oh, I didn't expect you to come to town as a Patranger or ally yourselves with them. And he's like, I could say the same about you. And I'm assuming that infers why he's so firmly in the Lupinranger camp. Maybe there are, I don't know, but we'll see. But the main significant event is he borrowed this little piece of the Lupin collection. It looks like a submarine toy, so that's a thing. But that was about it that I can remember, unless there's something I'm forgetting from the episode that pertained to anything with Noelle's story. Because then after that, other than him, doing his typical back and forth and helping with Sakuya's stuff, it was pretty much the same. The debut of his mecha. Honestly, I was kind of surprised that it was so understated, I guess, in a way, just because they did a really good job of debuting him last time and be like, oh look, here's his mecha. But then this one, it just felt weird to debut in a kind of Sakuya episode, and he debuted the Lupin form first, but it was a Pat leading episode. Honestly, I thought we were just gonna see the Lupin slasher form this week, and then do the Patranger one next week. It was just kind of based off of, general thinking from watching these shows for so long. But it totally made sense he would show it off, because he showed off his transformation flipping back and forth in his first episode, and it's very much in line with what we see with him from, where he does not care. Oh, I'm supposed to debut this next week because Toku rules? Don't think so. And it transforms are literally just flipping over. And I have to say, when we first saw pictures of the toys of these, I wasn't the hugest fan. That's all, folks. I loved the concept of his changer becoming both his mech and all that. I thought it was cool, but I think that they kind of chose the concept over the design. I still think that in some ways, because the changer still doesn't look that great on its own. But that's not what this is about. I distracted myself 3 times. I really like the mech in the show, I have to say. That's almost always the case. If there's a mech you're either unsure of or don't like, even if you just don't care for it at all, you're bound to like it at least a little bit more in the show, because it always looks a little more fluid. But, and I mentioned this when I talked about some of the clearer scans we got of the in-show suits, but I really like the Lupin slasher form. I think it looks really cool. I actually really like it a lot. I love the helmet. I think it looks really cool. The color balance looks nice. I really just dig it. I still prefer that one over the was it Pat Gunner? The Gunner? Yeah, it's Gunner. I think it's this Emperor Gunner. I still prefer the Lupin form kind of like with the suits, those Ranger suits. But I do like this one more after seeing it. I thought the way that he uses the gunner was cool since I saw it in the pictures and seeing it in action. It also is really cool. But like the helmet sculpt grew on me a little bit. Again, still prefer the Lupin one, but it overall did grow on me a little bit. And I dig the way it works, so it was really fun to see that. But yeah, overall, other than that, this was a very average episode. I would probably give this week's episode a 7. Kind of just your average plot of the week episode. You know, cool little debut for the mecha, if not a little understated, and a little bit stuff with the conspiracy at the beginning, but not too much. Next week looks like it could be interesting. It's showing, like, you know, kind of a cooking episode, so it could just end up being nonsense filler, but sometimes you can never tell. There's been times that I've seen the preview and be like, oh, next week will be like filler, and then something huge happens, so you don't know. Anyway, until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell for, you know, notifications. Dawson Ryder, signing out.